The Concert Queen Connect. I am here with Igor of Pig&Dan. Say hello.
Hi.
He's being shy now. He's acting.
No. I'm saying hi.
Oh, he's saying hi. This is a special hi.
Hi. Ow.
I'm so excited to see your face first off. I missed you. And Igor's become a good friend of mine. And I'm so lucky that we get to do this today and have a conversation about anything and everything, music. We're talking about meditation earlier. I was getting a pretty heavy, lots of advice on that because it's something I struggle with and need to. So we're talking about it all.
You procrastinate. That's a different thing.
See, he knows me very well.
You don't struggle. You procrastinate.
That's right. I'm procrastinating. I'm putting it off, but I'm going to get to that.
Exactly.
But for the people
putting
that
off things makes you struggle more.
Oh, see, we're getting deep already.
Yeah. Ooh.
So for people that are not familiar with you, Igor, can you tell them a little bit about yourself as far as we'll talk about music and then we'll obviously go off on the tangents that we do.
What, like from when I started or what?
Well, let's go. So you have been, let's see, I'm trying to think.
I can start when I was 10 years old and I was singing in the car.
Oh no, you're freezing.
I'm kidding. I was freezing. I was doing that on purpose.
All right, I need you to focus. All right, we got this. We can do this. This is gonna have to be edited. We're gonna have to edit this. All right, so we're gonna say.
But I can freeze like.
Stop doing that, because now I don't know if you're really. I don't know. If
I know. It's fun.
Steve's like on standby in the other room, and I'm like.
I'm like Trump avoiding questions.
Whoa. You went there with
that would be a good strategy actually. You just freeze like in the middle of like a White House press conference. He just freezes for 10 seconds and then he goes next question. That's a good strategy. It
is a really good strategy.
At least he wouldn't be talking shit.
No. All right, let's get back to it. All right.
Well,
let's talk about for the people that may not be familiar with you.
I can start like I was born out of my mom's womb, and I went to school like everybody else. I got bullied my ass off when I was in my teenage years. I went to boarding school at age 10. I fucking hated it, but I always had a love for music since I was a child. Already age 12, 13, I would do mixtapes on like a double take that, I would just make analog tapes I'd have a CD player with a double tape deck and I'd put one track from the CD, I'd record it on the tape, and then I'd pause it right at the end of the track, and then I'd put the next track. So I started making sessions already probably age 10, 11.
Wow. So with that, you're making these mixtapes, but were you listening to like what your parents were listening to? Were you listening to like something else randomly?
I don't know. No, I kind of went through all the phases. I went through the rap phase. I was into like Ice-T and that really old school rap. I don't remember. I remember Ice-T and who is those guys? The 2 Live Crew that were like, yeah,
2 Live Crew,
pussy, whatever.
You listen to 2 Live Crew?
Of course. Hey,
are you serious?
Yeah,
really?
Of course.
You didn't strike me as a 2 Live Crew
because it was cool. It was cool, and it was illegal, and it was
cool. It was
dirty, And I went through also my heavy metal phase.
I want to talk about that. I think that's a really cool phase. I would listen to
like Bobby Brown and shit like that, like.
MC Hammer. Did you have the Hammer pants?
I've got MC Hammer on vinyl. I've got Salt and Pepper on vinyl. I've got Kool Moe Dee on vinyl.
Oh wow.
I listen to everything. I listen to hard rock. I listen to also like stuff like Bobby Brown and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. What would you call that genre? It's not soul.
That's like R&B.
R&B, exactly, but old school R&B.
Old school. That's what I kind of grew up on too.
Kid and Play.
You listen to Kid and Play?
Yeah.
What about Crisscross? Crisscross, where you had the backwards
Crisscross
pants.
Will make you jump, of course. all that kind of stuff.
So all the music you listened, there was not a single genre that you kind of didn't explore. You
No,
kind of
I
explored it
I
all.
went through a heavy metal phase and the rap phase, I would say. So I was like a rapper, and I was and then I went through the whole wearing, skulls on shirts and lots of
Mm-hmm.
gothic, like a bit of a gothic sort of phase,
Mm-hmm.
wearing lots of, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
satanic and all that cool flags. I used to get those heavy metal flags and hang them up on my wall in my room and stuff like that.
So would you say you were kind of like a rebel as a kid? Like,
Yeah, I'm definitely the black sheep of my family for sure. I'm here to change everything.
yeah, shake things up.
That's what we are. That's what we are there for. The black sheep are there to break all the sort of um, not behaviors, but tío, ¿cómo se dice? I'm trying to find the word, like the genealogic, the patterns. That
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of
The
a lot
family
of talk,
patterns
yeah,
that
and some of them are really toxic, and I think the black sheep are there to break those patterns,
were you
for
the
sure.
youngest, oldest,
I'm the only one. I
only
am the
child?
one. There
So
will all
you
be, yes, there will be only
so you're
one.
breaking these down.
Yeah,
Awesome. So you listen,
exactly.
yeah, heavy metal, and then I
So yeah,
know.
but I kind of started DJing at a very young age because I was already making mixtapes.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't mixing, but I was mixing tracks. So I was kind of like making a progression. I was, for me, DJing is much more about the progression of a session than the actual mixing. Mixing is a mechanical thing,
Got it.
Anybody can learn mixing. It's this the big part of, or the important part of being a DJ is the psychological aspect, which I think these days it's lacking because a lot of DJs, it's like for me, DJing is about is playing the right music at the right time, and it's creating an ambiance, it's creating a vibe. And I find that a lot of people just play, a lot of music is being played in the wrong places at the wrong times. For example, you go to a restaurant and they're playing really loud EDM music. Not the right place to hear that music. One, you're having lunch. You don't want to listen to loud EDM music because you have to fucking scream over everybody else to have a normal conversation while you're having lunch at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So yeah, even though EDM is cool and it's modern, it's just not the right
Not the right
place
vibe.
to play, and also the volume of it. Or like, I mean, this is just my opinion, my humble opinion.
Right.
Then
No, I agree with you completely.
anybody else can do whatever the fuck they want. But also going to a festival and watching a, I mean, watching a DJ playing industrial techno at 150 BPM at 2 in the afternoon while the sun is up is just, or you see all these streams of people, DJs in front of a beach playing really hard techno, and you're like, what is that about?
Hmm. But
You
do you
know?
think that's because of
And I think everything has its, like,
place?
you're at the beach. If you're gonna play techno, then you can play dubby techno, or more minimal sort of dubby stuff, or melodic, and maybe you can play a bit harder when the sun goes down. If you're gonna be in the warehouse, you're not gonna play like in a dark industrial warehouse. You're not gonna play. I mean, you can play happy house, but I mean, you're gonna
Hmm.
play industrial techno. You know what I mean? It's
Right. Well, do you think too? Because I feel like some of the artists feel because they've been labeled, maybe like you said, I feel like a lot of artists too, maybe they didn't start off. I know just reading about you, I know you necessarily didn't start in techno. You started,
no.
doing
I've got
house, then
look.
you said some other things, but their sound evolves to that. Do you think them being labeled like, oh, I'm a hard techno DJ, that's all I can play now? Or do you feel like they should have some wiggle room as to what the
No,
different
I mean
genres based on the
the
vibe?
thing is, there's no need right now. Now there is no need for that. But I started out playing, like, I mean basically I've got about 3,000 vinyls. I just ordered them in my studio. I mean, I had them in boxes, and I didn't have a room big enough, or I didn't have the space to put them in shelves. So that was kind of like, that's my history. The vinyls I bought in the last 15 years, and I've got I've got techno, I've got hard techno, I've got minimal, I've got house, I've got like masters of work, stuff like that. I've got speed. I even have like London garage. I've got breakbeat. I even have drum and bass. I mean, and I even have stuff like chill out stuff. So for me, DJing was all about. I even look in my USB. I even have a folder. I can play anything. If I go to I can play Romanian minimal if I'm in an after hours. I can play super hard techno if I'm in a warehouse. I can play melodic like Solomon sound style sound if I'm in Tulum in the jungle and everybody's wearing their Indian outfits and shit, eating mushrooms. Yeah, or Burning Man. No,
you just described
I
techno in Tulum
music.
in one
But the
sentence.
thing, music is look, music is. I don't see genres. I just see either it's shit or it's good. That's it. Like food. For me, if food is good, it's good. If it's mediocre, it's bad. If it's bad, it's bad. So either it's good or it's bad.
Yeah.
There's and the same with music. And there's good music. Even there's good pop music. There's good class. There's good everything except reggaeton. Sorry, reggaeton for me, it's all crap. I
That's
hate
where
it.
you draw the
Can't
line,
stand it.
reggaeton.
Oh, I can't stand that shit. Sorry. That's the only music genre I cannot handle.
Good to know. So I'll
I
make
prefer
sure
I
not to
prefer
share my playlist, my
I
reggaeton
pref-
playlist
I
with you.
prefer hardcore goth metal than reggaeton.
Really?
Yes.
So when you're saying like what makes a good track to you then? So what like if you're listening to something, are there certain elements of a song that you're like, wow, this is a really well produced track, or is it vocal? Like
I
what are
just so
those
I just
different
it just
pieces?
sounds good to me. That's it.
Just sounds good.
Yeah, it's just I don't overthink it. Either it sounds good or it's like when you eat food, you think, "Oh my God, what is it? Is it the cumin or is it the spice or is it?" No, you just
I
go,
do though.
"Fuck,
I'm
this
like,
is good," and that's it.
I'm tasting it. No,
You
I'm
don't
just
you
kidding. No,
don't
you're
analyze
exactly
the
right.
food.
You
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 just
don't.
eat
You
it,
just
and you're
hear it,
like,
and it creates it creates a
like the
vibe. It
other
has.
day where you were eating that rib steak or whatever, that rib
Oh, you
sandwich, and
saw that? Yeah,
you
where
were
I tried.
comparing it to the McDonald's. You weren't like, oh, what
That
does
was a
this have?
taste test. I didn't. Okay, so let me clarify what he's talking about. So I did. There's a barbecue place here in Austin called Slab Barbecue. They've been on like diners and drive-ins with Guy Fieri. They're pretty. It's really famous here in Austin, and so they came out with a rib sandwich versus the McRib by McDonald's. And so I was doing a taste test for them,
So it's like
and
cardboard
it
versus
was
meat.
really bad. It was gross. Like we're talking about McDonald's or
What,
like
the McRib?
the
It's
McRib.
cardboard. It's cardboard.
It was bad. I couldn't even like my stomach did not. I don't know how people not if you like the McRib, I know you don't, but I know other people if you like that, I would get your taste buds checked because there's something wrong there. But no, you're right. Like when
I
when
just
you
don't.
taste
I don't remember
something,
the last time I ate McDonald's. To be honest, I don't
you're
remember
not
the
missing
last time I ate
anything.
McDonald's.
Yeah, you're definitely not missing
I'm
anything.
freezing. I'm
Yeah,
freezing.
you're freezing again. There you
I
are.
mean, I'll eat McDonald's. I'll eat McDonald's if it's the last. If everything in. I mean, wait, my connection is unstable.
It says you're good
Okay,
here.
I'm
I can
here.
see you. I can see you. You're good.
So yeah, I'll eat McDonald's if it's the last. If I haven't eaten in 2 days, and I mean, I had to eat McDonald's once in Amsterdam because it was 2 in the morning. There was nothing else open, and I hadn't eaten all day, and it was like, okay, I'll eat McDonald's, but otherwise, I just can't handle it. So it's
Yeah.
it's I don't even enjoy it. That's the problem. I don't enjoy anything about it. Even it just doesn't taste like anything. Burger
No.
King, same shit.
All the fast food. All that.
Yeah.
So
So we steered away from
yeah, see,
what we
we
were talking
steered away.
about.
We are talking about the elements, but I agree with what you're saying as far as like if something tastes good, you're at a nice restaurant and you have the food all. Oh, you froze again. Let's see if we got. There you are.
Look,
Okay. Yeah, but
and
if you
and and
have,
with music, it's the same thing. It's all about it's the combination of everything. It just makes sense. It's like your producer could say the same with photography. The perfect photograph isn't what you're photographing. It's the moment you're photographing at, the position, the light. It's everything
put together.
put together, creating that perfect moment. and like the perfect track when you write, like there's certain tracks we have for me that are like my favorites are, they were just written at that moment and they're pure inspiration. It just happens. It's magical. It just, I don't know how to explain it. It just happens. And it's the
Yeah.
same with, it just happens, I guess.
Yeah. What are some of your favorite tracks that you
But
like
that
of
I've
yours
written,
that you've written?
no, I don't want to,
You don't want to talk
I
about
don't
that?
know. I mean, no, not really. No, it's a bit egotistical.
Okay. Okay. We won't go down that road
But like,
then.
I'll tell you one of my favorite tracks in the world. Probably my favorite, for me, the best track ever is "Riders on the Storm" by The Doors. I love that track.
Oh,
It's like the
wow.
perfect track.
What you just like it for when do you listen to that?
No, it's just one of my favorite tracks. I just think it's perfect. You know?
Mm-hmm. The Doors. But you also like Guns N' Roses too.
Yeah, of course.
So a lot of the classics. And
Yeah, and
those are the things I think there's a lot of
I
like
liked it.
timeless music there.
I think music was much more authentic before than it is now. I feel like unfortunately it's all you know you can actually tell when it's a product or when it's the real artist.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like there's more of the product stuff going on and fewer artists. But there are, thank God, still some real artists coming out there. In general, I'm not talking about electronic music.
Right.
I'm talking about pop music. You can really tell when something's real and when it's not. You know what I mean? When
Right.
it's just a product. It's being put together. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And something's overproduced almost to a point.
Yeah, but like bands like the Police or like U2 or Queen or where's that now these days? How many bands are there like that are really successful?
Yeah.
You
No, it's
know,
hard. I know
or the
we've
Rolling
talked
the
about it.
Rolling Stones, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That energy that there's not that many.
No,
Of
there isn't.
course,
Now that you're thinking.
Massive Attack, for example, yeah, fantastic. But I don't
Yeah.
know.
I do want to know where that name is. That was that a nickname that you had, Pig? Someone asked me to, and that in one of the questions they were like, "Does he own pigs? Where does that come
No, I
from?"
don't own pigs. No.
Okay.
Um, I I was I just like to eat, and I used to always put like extra cheese and extra mayo on my burgers and shit. So I got the nickname Pig from a mate of mine, and his mom used to call me Piggy.
Aw.
And she actually she was like my second mom. Like I called her my galactic mom. So she was like, the mom you always wanted, kind of thing. And because I spent a lot of time going to their place. They have a really nice farm in the north of the island of Mallorca where I live, and they have this like beautiful stone tunnel with a massive sofa at the end of it, and at the beginning of the tunnel they had this a DJ booth with two Technics and like just two turntables and these massive speakers, and I used to just go there and spin for hours and hours. And the mom used to love. She used to be really into house music, so she just loved having have me playing there, and I just play for hours and hours. And I used to love. They used to make me these veggie tofu burgers with like bacon and egg, and it was so good, and cheese, and I would put like extra cheese and mayo. So I got the name Piggy or Pig. So then when I met Dan, which was later on, thanks to the same friend, his name's Aaron, he was like, he's like, you should meet this friend of mine. He produces music. Maybe you guys will get along. I'm like, okay. So I met Dan and we started producing, and then when we thought of a name, we thought Pig and Dan because of my nickname, and we're like, let's find a name that's gonna be short but catchy, and who the fuck's gonna call themselves Pig anyway? So we said Pig and Dan, and that's basically as simple it is as it is, yeah, basically.
Yeah. So you
Because
guys.
I love mayonnaise. I used to love like I used to put mayonnaise on everything.
On everything. Like what was
On
some,
everything.
like French fries too? Weird things.
Oh, dude, what? French fries with mayo are like the best, dude.
Oh, I've never had that.
That
Really?
is awesome, dude. Oh my
What?
God. Or with like pink sauce. You mix mayo with ketchup and you make the pink old
Yeah.
school
The
pink
secret
80s
sauce.
cocktail sauce.
Oh my
It's like Thousand
gosh.
Island.
Yeah.
That's how you make cheap Thousand Island, mayo and ketchup. And
Oh,
it's so
never had
good.
that.
You
Never
should try
mixed.
it.
Now I'm gonna have to.
Of
I
course.
didn't know. That's
How
interesting.
could you how have you not tried that?
I don't know. I mean, I'll put
Oh, dude.
mayonnaise. Like that's all I put on my burgers is like mayonnaise and lettuce, but I don't do the whole like mixing all the different
Oh.
flavors together.
Mm.
Pretty normal there.
I like burger with mayo. Oh, I like the
Same.
salad. You put it in the salad and makes
You
it
put it in
nice
a
and
salad too? Well, I guess that's what ranch
no,
dressing. That's what dressing is.
you put the mayo with the salad bit of the burger and it makes it
Got it.
really like juicy. Mm.
So you keep going off on these tangents now, talking about
That-
food.
that's what makes it more exciting.
So Piggy,
You said we were going to talk about anything and everything, so
anything
here
and
it is.
everything. And here we are
Yeah,
talking about
yeah. It's
burgers.
Piggy and Bird Woman unplugged.
So we said piggy and birds earlier.
Yes, Pig and Birds.
Pig and birds. So you've got with Pig&Dan, and then you guys came together, started producing. What was it that you were like?
The funny thing is, and I've said it a million times, is that me and Dan met on an airplane 3 years before we met through this friend of mine,
Mm-hmm.
and it was kind of like fate because I was sitting one row behind Dan's seat. He was sitting on the exit row aisle, and I was sitting one row after him, and I was already sat down, and he came in the plane with two vinyl record bags, and I said, "Hey, you're a DJ?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm a DJ. I'm playing drum and bass in Ministry of Sound." And it's like, "Yeah, and I'm going to Mallorca, and I'm really cool." I was a home DJ in that time, um, and we just basically had a 2-minute interaction, and that was it, and I didn't see him again. So then my friend that knew Dan also, when I met Dan, so when I went to Dan's house to produce, we started producing, and there was chemistry from the very beginning. Um, and about a month and a half through working, we kind of both looked at each other and we said, "Fuck, we met before, didn't we?" And we were trying to remember, and it was on that plane because I was studying in London in that time. I was doing university in London, and I was flying back home for the holidays, and Dan was visiting us because his parents were living in Mallorca at that time, and he was on that plane from London to Mallorca. So the probabilities of you meeting someone on a plane and then meeting them 3 years later are pretty,
Pretty slim.
it's pretty much fate. You probably win the lottery before that. So
Yeah.
it's interesting because I sat in the row behind him, like. So if you mix those probabilities, sitting in one row behind the same seat, on the same plane at the same time, at the same day from London to Mallorca, I would have rather won the lottery actually, but you know, I have to be happy with that. What can you do?
Yeah. And how is Dan doing?
Dan's okay. He's taking a bit of a break these days.
Yeah. Well, is this the first time you've had a break, or do you guys kind of work that in? I know you were
Pretty
touring, and
much.
that's
I mean, pretty much. We've been touring for 20 years. You can't really have that many breaks
no.
when you're in this DJ life. Maybe you take a month break, but you can't really take very big breaks because it's a very fast industry.
Yeah.
So you have to be there continuously, and it's also an everyday job. People think you just spin records and drink your ass off and have fun, and well, for us at least, it wasn't like that. we
Right.
didn't have a, we didn't have a team of managers and people doing everything for us. We were basically doing everything ourselves. So running a record label, doing interviews, logistics, talking to your agency. It's a 7-day job. There's always something. So you're never really on holiday. I'm sure you know what I mean. I mean,
Oh
you're in
yeah.
social media and you work from home, and you can't really disconnect. You're always connected, you know?
Right. Well, I feel like with you too, I mean, and I got to actually see Igor and Dan at the last music festival of
Mm,
2020, which was Crossed. And so that was really special because I hadn't seen you since South by of the year
mm.
before. And that
Yeah,
was your first time to Austin. So I actually met him in I think we met in a
yeah.
convenience store before. I had actually, even to take it back
We
even
met we met in
further.
that nerdy store.
Yeah, that little of course. It was like there was like all these knickknacks. Like I think we went in there to get gum.
Yeah,
My
well, that was
friend.
such a cool store, but they were such nerds. I'm sorry. You remember I wanted to buy something and it was like 1 minute past closing time, and they're like, "No, you're not in."
Yeah, I don't
You know,
know.
it was that kind of like the McBreakfast is, you ask for the McBreakfast a minute later, and they're like, "We don't serve McBreakfast anymore," and you just feel like, like that movie with Michael Douglas. It's like what a bad day. He has a really bad
Yeah,
day.
and that's like one of them. One of the things that happens.
That's a great movie.
God, it's been. I haven't seen that movie in forever.
Yeah. What was it
But
called? Do you remember?
no, I know what you're talking about though, because I remember that
But
specific
he has a
scene.
girlfriend, and he's going to see his girlfriend, and he's completely fucking psycho.
If I
But
find it, I'll send it to you.
he's
But yeah,
having the worst fucking day ever.
yeah. But I remember we were in the. I was with my friend Jen, who was actually she was my first friend that I ever made in Austin. Do you
Yeah.
remember
I remember you were wearing like a Scooby Doo outfit.
me?
You looked like you were out of a Scooby Doo cartoon,
I was
actually.
not wearing a Scooby Doo outfit. I was wearing bell
You were
bottoms.
wearing like a sexy Scooby Doo
Okay, I'll take sexy
cartoon
Scooby Doo,
girl
but I'm not
outfit.
gonna take the Scooby Doo outfit because
Hence the bell buttons. Scooby Doo is like 70s cartoon, so thank you very much. I'm right.
I did not. I'm gonna show a picture of what I was wearing because I remember I was wearing. I don't even know. No, I remember I
Actually,
was
you
wearing
weren't
bell
wearing
bottoms and
anything.
like an
She
Austin
was
shirt.
naked. She was naked, guys. She was naked.
It's exactly South by. Nothing. Everything goes at South by. But yeah,
Yeah,
did
exactly.
you know you were coming in during like the busiest week of in Austin?
No, didn't have an idea. No,
Yeah,
I just go wherever they call me, and I have no expectations.
yeah, there's a
It's a
lot
great thing.
of, I mean, that literally is, and that was the last South by too, because they didn't have it this year. But yeah, you came in and that was such a special show because you were someone, you and Dan, I had watched I think you're like your Tomorrowland set, and I had heard some of your music just in passing that other artists were playing. And so I was that girl that was like Shazamming all of your songs. Like I didn't know it was you. And I was Shazamming songs that artists were playing your music. And I
Mm.
was like, oh my God, Pig&Dan. So I'd been listening to y'all for years. So it was one of those when it was such a special thing when you guys were coming in. I was like, oh my God, that's them. And then my friend Jen, she literally went to Tomorrowland when y'all were there in Belgium. And
God, you were such groupies.
she, no, we were not groupies.
They totally
No, we were
were.
not groupies.
Yeah, yeah, whatever.
Jen was freaking
Change
out.
subject.
Yeah, we were not groupies, but Jen
Change
was,
subject.
yeah, Jen saw you guys at Tomorrowland. So that's why, it was special because you guys had never did you been to Texas before?
No, really. Yeah, I'd been to Houston, I think.
Houston. So yeah. So
Yeah,
it was a
but
cool
we played in
show.
a tiny club in Houston. Techno's not very big there.
Oh, I bet you I know. The Dive. Yeah, one of those. They have got
We played
some,
like on a Thursday night there or something. But it was a
yeah.
great club. The funny enough, the club in Houston was run by a South African guy, I think.
Hmm. I wonder which one that was. But yeah. I
I
mean,
don't
I
think it even
loved.
exists anymore, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's
Well,
how
that's a
I think so. I
bummer.
don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah. Well, so
But
then
it was a good experience.
good. So Texas treated you well, and then we met up again at Crossed, and so that was where I mean you had like a whole tour schedule coming up after
Yeah,
Crossed.
yeah, of course.
'Cause you were going to San Francisco next, and then
Yeah, we had a really good gig in San Francisco happening, which we didn't do in the end. We had a great gig in LA the next day, also, which we unfortunately didn't do. So yeah,
wow,
we basically and we had another gig. I missed a gig in Toronto also in Toronto exactly
yeah,
because I had to. I actually played in Vancouver, and then I was playing Vancouver, then Toronto, and then I was playing, coming back to LA, and then San Francisco. And in Toronto, after playing in Vancouver, they basically canceled my gigs in LA and San Francisco, and in Toronto also. So I had to buy a new ticket and get the hell out of Dodge, like you guys say, to get home before they closed the airports. Because
Yeah.
it was a pretty hardcore situation.
Yeah. I remember talking to you through that. You were the first person to kind of warn me too of like the
Mm.
severity of what was happening because we were here in Austin and it hadn't really hit Texas as hard as it had hit you guys over in Europe. And you were like, go to the store, go do this, go do that. I was like, really? And you're like, yeah. So I
And it happened,
appreciate
right? I was
you.
right, no?
Yeah, you were right. I believe
Did
anything
you
you
did you
say,
take
you're
my
like,
advice? Did you take my advice, or did you
I did.
procrastinate?
I went and I was like I was like, okay. I mean, if he says, sure
Did you
enough, I
get toilet
went.
rolls
I stocked up on toilet paper
before everybody else?
for everybody else. I
Were
had
you
everything.
like hanging your
I
toilet
was.
paper out, going, "I've got toilet paper, motherfuckers! Come get it, motherfuckers!"
No, I was ready. I was locked and loaded with toilet paper. I had everything. Thanks to you. I'd like stocked up on food. So when lockdown happened, I mean, that's when things just went crazy. It was like a Monday or a Tuesday, I think, that I went, and then everything went on lockdown like that Friday. So that was thank you to you. And so with all this, I know you've really been focused on, and just from watching and kind of following you, I saw you're more focused on like your health and wellness and kind of really focused on that. But what else have you been like throughout all this time? Just been working on music, been working on
Yeah, no, I
all
mean
kinds of things.
it's made me. I mean, I mean, I've been traveling for 20 years, so having this break, it kind of made me realize how much, because the DJ, the tour, people think, it's everything has its good things and its bad things. I'm not complaining, but it's, you miss out on a lot. So you travel a lot and you see a lot of places and you play a lot of things and there's a lot of excitement, but the downside of all that is that you miss out a lot on the seeing your friends and seeing your family, and you just miss a lot of the life happening at home.
Mm-hmm.
um and it's harder to take care of yourself when you're touring. It's hard to eat healthy. You don't sleep properly. A lot of I mean, when we come to America, we're doing 10 cities in like 2 weeks.
Wow.
So, and I've played. I've had to play after. I've flown from Mallorca to New York, or from Mallorca to LA, or I've done like 12 hours, 14 hours traveling, had 2 hours rest, and then had to play
Wow.
till 6 in the morning, and I mean
Yeah.
and then you get 5 hours sleep because your plane leaves at midday, so you're not able to fly in the afternoon. So you have to adapt to the flights and everything. So a lot of weekends you're sleeping 2 hours or 3 hours in a week, and on top of it, you don't even sleep properly because you're waking up every hour, looking at your watch, thinking, I've got 3 hours left to have to go to the airport. So
Wow.
you're kind of not even getting that much rest. So it's psychologically and physically a very it takes a toll, on everything, the touring, the DJ lifestyle. And I mean, at the beginning, the first 10 years I did it on drugs. That's why, I was basically taking drugs every day. I was yeah. And there's a lot of DJs and artists that deal with it like that. They're basically fucked 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
But also that has a toll on your your body and your brain.
Right.
So for me, I had to come into recovery. I went to rehab. I've talked about it before.
Yeah.
Um, I went to rehab, and I actually I took a 2 year break. Well, 2 year break. I was in rehab for like 6 months, and then I got a day job. I stayed in England. I went to rehab in England, in London, near London. Um, and then I actually got a day job in a music in a record label, in a down tempo record label, working in the stock room. Basically, I was the guy that would receive packages and put them in the stock room and send packages away, and like the mailing errand boy, which was very good for my ego. Actually, it was a very humbling experience. And then I worked in an amusement park.
An
I don't
amusement
know.
park?
Yeah, I was a. Yeah, this was a. Yeah, I worked in a. I don't know if you've seen the movie called Adventureland.
No.
It's with a guy that actor from the Facebook movie, the guy that does he's in a movie where he's a ride operator. Anyways, I was operating a Mexican themed roller coaster for kids.
Nice. I can't even picture that. Do
No,
you have to
no,
wear the
no.
outfit? Were you wearing an outfit too?
No, I wasn't wearing a fucking Mexican outfit. No, I was wearing the uniform that
Oh,
the
okay. For
like
Adventureland.
an amusement park uniform. It was
Got it.
horrible. It was like Turkish blue, turquoise blue or something
Mm-hmm.
with a white shirt, blue pants with a white shirt. I don't know what it was. It's called Chessington. Um, and La Cucaracha was playing on loop the whole fucking day.
Oh God.
So I could not make me like I would virtually get home after work and I just had La Cucaracha playing in my head.
Oh
Even when
no.
no, I was dreaming of La fucking Cucaracha. Na, 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 na. And I could make music. I
Yeah,
would
I can
try and
imagine with that
I'd try
playing in
and
your
produce
head.
in like my free days and I could not make anything because I had La Cucaracha in there for like 8 months. So, but it was a very good experience for me. I needed to clear out my head. I needed
It's a
to,
reset.
and I needed to challenge my ego because I was Pig&Dan, the big DJ that played in Ibiza. Don't you know Pig&Dan? I was like, don't you know me? I'm like famous. No, and by the end of that, I was like, I'm not even gonna bother, because the thing is, there's so many genres and there's of music and so many different tastes. So you can be really well known in one world and nobody knows you in the other.
Yeah.
It's like
Wow.
so. So it was a very good ego deflating experience. And then after I lived in England for 2 years, I stayed away from all my friends and I was clean for 2 years. I moved back to Spain and I started rebuilding with Dan because Dan continued DJing, but it wasn't the same thing as Pig and Dan.
Right.
So it was kind of like I wouldn't say a fresh new start, but it was a bit of a it was quite it was like starting again because um, being out of the industry for 2 years, people forget you. I thought I was gonna come back and everybody was gonna remember me and welcome me back. And it's like, it wasn't who the fuck are you, but it was like, you gotta start again. So
Right.
another humbling experience, and also starting to make music sober was a different experience. And me and Dan had made music for a long time, so
Yeah. How was
we
how
we
was that process of doing that? Like you said, I think did
it
you
was
feel
it
like
was
there was a
it,
different
it, it just
sound?
like starting again. It was like starting
Yeah.
again, um but yeah, no, it's yeah, it was tough. And also you saw that people, like it made me see also that, especially when I was going through that bad moment, is that you really see what people are there and what people are not there, and who's there to support you and who's not. And it's a very big lesson to learn that, at the end, it's you can count them on your hands.
Wow.
you know
Mm-hmm.
when you're in a hospital or you're really fucked, you realize that there's not that many people there for you, you know?
Yeah.
Sadly, it's sad, but it's a reality.
Well,
So
you're right. Yeah. And I think that's in
it's
general.
also
Like,
very, yeah,
yeah.
it's just a, it's not good or bad. It just is like that. And it's, again, it's another ego deflator, you know?
Yeah.
You realize you're not that important either. And everybody has their own dramas and shit,
Right.
you know?
Well, these ego deflators too, but I also look at them like they're your truths. You're identifying
They're truths,
these
yeah, of
truths
course.
of
But I
like,
mean,
this is
when
what
you're in
really
that,
matters.
you're taking drugs and you're, you know, you're in that glorious moment, and you know, you have all, you know, I mean, it kind of, for me, I mean, my last gig before I went to rehab was in Amnesia with Sven Vath. You know, it was glorious. It was like everything was amazing, and we were at the height of our career, and
Wow.
you know, everybody, everybody's kissing your ass, and you feel like you're the hot shit of the moment, and you know,
Yeah.
and then you just like suddenly it's like you jump off, and you jump off the fucking a cliff, and you're back down there again, and you're in hell again, yeah,
Damn.
and you're in hell. Then you got to climb out of that hellhole and sort of climb up the hill again,
Yeah.
so it's an interesting experience.
Yeah.
And for Dan, I mean, for Dan, it was really hard also because, his partner was gone. I kind of let him down. I mean, I, he took drugs with me, but he wasn't an addict like I was. He didn't have a problem like I did. He kind of was codependent. He followed me. He did drugs with me, but I mean, at the end of that, he was basically, I was completely fucked in airports, and he was wheeling me in airports. Like I'd get on the airport carriage and he'd wheel me around. Like, I mean, and I was like catatonic. It was like
Wow. So then you
hardcore
had
shit.
that moment where I mean, did you have, like you said, the next day, like you went in to rehab? You just realized that
No, 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 no. What happened is that I played with Sven in Amnesia, and then I basically lost consciousness.
oh,
I
wow.
completely lost consciousness, and they took me out onto the back terrace, and like half an hour later, I just woke up with like 20 people around me, worried shitless,
Wow.
because like my manager, friends of mine that were there, um, just yeah, they were all worried shitless. They thought something was going to happen to me, because I completely lost consciousness. And of course, I woke up and I was like, "Where's the drugs?
Wow.
Get me some more drugs." Um, so I flew back home after that gig, and basically I kept on getting high for the next few days, and then I had a South American tour coming up, uh, like the weekend after, and to be honest, I was completely terrified by that. The thing is, when you're in that place, like when I was so when I hit my rock bottom with drugs, or with addiction, when you're an addict in addiction, you basically do drugs. You take drugs to survive. Okay, it's more like it's like you're self-medicating,
Hmm.
and I needed to be on something to be able to walk outside my house, because I was terrified of of life. I just couldn't. I was just terrified of everything. So you need this shit that kind of you need. It's like you need drugs or alcohol or whatever, to take that fear away.
Yeah. To
And
function. Yeah.
it's so terrifying that you actually want to die. So when you're in that state, you're so unhappy, and you're surrounded by. It's like you're surrounded by darkness. It's a very dark place to be. Um,
And I'm sure, like you said too, when it's like you're taking those to escape that, but then it's like you come right back down to it
Look, I
every time.
spent 2 years wanting to die. Basically, I would wake up in the morning and I would think today's a great day to die, and I would be in an airplane flying to a gig, and I'd be thinking, I wish this plane crashed right now. I mean, that's also very selfish because I would have killed 300 people just for myself to die. I mean, it's crazy, but
But in
I
that
didn't even
moment,
think of that.
in that mindset, you're
You're just
thinking,
you're so
yeah,
unhappy. You're so unhappy with life. All you want to do is die. You know, you just think, I don't want to be in this world anymore. And it's like a dire.
it's an escape. It's
It's
like the
just
ultimate escape
it's
from
panic. No,
all
dude.
that.
I mean, I when someone wants to commit suicide, or they commit suicide, and I've been there, it's because it's you feel like you have a wall behind you and someone has a sword to your throat and you don't have another choice. And you
Wow.
think the easiest thing you can do is to die, you know? So it's not like a coward thing to do. It's just you're terrified. It's extreme amount of anxiety and fear. You know, it's and the thing is, the crazy thing is, it's addiction is a disease of perception. Uh, so most of that fear and that anxiety and that anguish is created by this. It's created by us.
Mm-hmm.
It's if it's the perception that that person is creating. If you can see you can see a problem in many different ways. If you see it in the most negative way, you feel like killing yourself. But if you have if you perceive it in a positive way, then there's always a solution to the problem, except death, of course.
Right.
I
Well,
don't
it
know if
sounds
I'm
like
making
no,
if
you
I'm
are.
making any sense.
You are. I think even in earlier in this conversation too, like the way you talk about it, it's like, I mean, that's like a former life of yours. It's still part of you, but it's not who you are. But you're talking about it too as like this was an opportunity for growth for you as you talk about it. Like it's brought you to where you are today, but it's not, like you said, in that mindset. That's totally different. It is the perception. It's like if you're going to be negative, you're going to see negative and you're going to feel negative, and versus like, okay, I'm going to still see the bright side of what happened, which is where you are. It sounds like you're there now, where you're able to
Well,
see how
I
that's
can I
influenced
still
you.
can be negative, but
But you're able to
you
pull
know,
yourself out of it, I'm sure. Like not go to that. Like I feel like once your brain, and that's just depression and mental health. Like I've been depressed. I've been clinically depressed.
yeah. But
I've
if you don't
gone.
do anything and you stay in bed, then if you don't act on it, you're gonna continue that way. So you got to
Right.
do something about it.
Yeah, and it's hard, and I don't think there's any shame in that. I think
No, there isn't.
like there's a lot of people that I
Well, you
personally
can
know,
get
and
help also. You know,
exactly, if
like
you
I
get
got
help,
help.
I think it's so stigmatized where it's seen as weakness versus it being like, no, this is something that people deal with. It's the reality of life, and there's a lot of things, and there's a lot of external influences that can make, not necessarily make, like you said, it's the perception, but if you're not trained and maybe you're not mentally.
No, but addiction. Look, I
Yeah,
think
addiction is a
but
totally
they're
different. Like I
diseases.
refer to
It's a
you for that.
disease. They're
That's a totally
diseases.
different thing. Yeah.
They're mental diseases, and if
Mm-hmm.
people doesn't, it's a whole thing. Is the world of therapy and mental disease and all this stuff is shit that people that don't have it don't understand it.
Yeah.
If you haven't gone through it, then you just can't even begin to understand what it's like.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Well,
like
and see, and
watching
I
a
don't
movie.
like, yeah, I haven't gone to that with addiction. I haven't personally experienced it, but I've talked to people, so I can't
No, but
personally
if you've
relate to
gone
that.
through
But
depression,
yeah,
depression
I'm
is
definitely sympathetic to. I mean, I know that it exists, and I do believe that. I've had to go to therapy for different things and traumas. I think that's ultimately, to me, for me personally, like it comes down to the things that you don't even necessarily know. You're ignorant. We're all walking around with pain. Everybody has some kind of pain that they're walking around with, and whether
yeah,
or not,
but you made the effort to go to therapy and deal with
yeah,
it, and that's the important
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
You
I
know
did,
that
yeah, and I
you
wouldn't
were.
say, yeah, and I wouldn't say I'm like 100%. I don't think anyone ever. I think if anything, it takes a lot of strength, like you said, because there's people that are like, oh, I don't need therapy. I don't believe in that. I'm like, how do you not believe in therapy? If someone helping you sort your thoughts and really kind of unpack you, that's been medically trained to know how to do that and how to do different things. And I've gone to several different therapists for different things, but ultimately I mean, even you and I talked about it right now earlier with like meditation and being okay with being in stillness is really hard for me in general. And that's where I feel like we all have these different vices and different escapes for things. But that to me is something that I would love to work on more. But I
The
feel
thing
like to
is,
your point,
the thing is, it's hard for everybody,
yeah,
Teresa. It's not just hard for you. It's hard for everybody that starts meditating. Nobody starts meditating and then suddenly could connect to the universe. You know,
yeah,
you have to do. It's like everything in life. You have to start, and then you do it every day. You do a bit every day,
right.
and you start training your brain, and you go into it, and that's it. It's like riding a bicycle. You don't just get on a bicycle. You put the trainer wheels on,
Yeah,
and then you ride, and then one day you're riding on a bicycle. So
that's true.
it's the same thing, you know.
Hmm.
And that's what everybody. When I tell a lot of people, they're like, "No, I'm too nervous." It's like you're the person that needs this the most, and you're telling me you don't want to do it. But ironically, people that are like hyperactive and because what it does is it calms your thoughts.
Hmm.
That's what it does. It calms your thoughts and it gives you a space to be able to be in the present, in the now, to relax your brain, because the brain is always, it's tiresome for the brain to be always thinking.
Hmm.
So what meditation does is it clears your mind of thoughts, and it gives you a moment to connect with the present, with the universe, with whatever you want to call it, with your spiritual self, with your consciousness. And it's interesting. Sometimes you can get some really deep messages, and like it's like it's like doing therapy with yourself and
Yeah.
connecting to your because we all have a consciousness, and we all have um, I think there's a universal wisdom that we have, which we can connect to, but we don't necessarily this opt to connect to a lot of times, because we rather do what we want to do, and we want to do the wrong choices, we want to be naughty. But I think we all have that universal wisdom. It's a matter of creating a space to connect to it, and that's what meditation does. Is you can connect to that universal wisdom, consciousness, higher power, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
which is inside us.
I love it. So
Yeah, and
you
that's enough for my spirit my spiritual magic talk.
But it's a
Yes.
big piece of who you are. I feel like, I mean, just from our conversations, and I think there's a lot to you as a person besides just music. You know, you have music is there, and music is something that's
Yeah,
obviously a
but
part of your life. But
but we're all people in the end. I mean,
yeah,
I like to say something that shit smells everywhere. Everybody's shit smells. I bet you Michael Jackson's shit smelled like shit.
hmm,
Everybody's shit smells. Doesn't matter if you're the Queen of England or the King of whatever. So, and we're all gonna die in the end. So, in the end, we're just people.
hmm,
I'm very lucky to have found music, or music found me, and I'm lucky to have been able to make a living from my passion.
hmm,
Um, and you were asking me before, where does my inspiration come? Do I get inspired? And I was like I was saying, it's kind of like I was born with a gift, and I've been able to identify that gift. I think everybody has a gift. It's just finding out what you're good at, or what you like, or that, like music. When I decided to dedicate myself to music, I kind of thought, what's been there all my life, what's been consistent, what have I loved? And music was like the most consistent thing in my life. It was like that friend that had always been there.
yeah,
So that's kind of like what made me think, okay, this is what I want to do. Um and it just, for me, it's kind of like when I'm DJing or when I'm producing music, I go into another, it's like I go into a higher state of consciousness, and I'm able to connect. I don't know how I do it. I just do it. Like when I'm writing a track in the studio and I'm inspired, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just doing it without thinking. I'm going with the flow, like Steve said. I just go with the flow, and it just sort of, the magic happens by itself. And then there's a moment where I stop flowing, which means it's time to stop. you know. So you know, maybe, but usually when I'm inspired, I won't stop till I so if I'm writing a track and I'm still writing at 3 in the morning, I'll continue till I finish the track,
Wow.
unless my inspiration stops. When it stops, I you know, I put it out, and next day I go back on. But there's some days that I go to the studio and I try write something and nothing, and I've wasted my time for 3 hours, you know. So it comes and goes. So it's not like I'm gonna inspire myself. I'm gonna look at, no, it just, no. I can't. I don't force it. It just happens, you know. And when I'm playing, when I'm DJing, it's also, I don't really. It's I don't prepare my. I prepare my music in, like, I'll do like folders, and I know I'll prepare my music in different category intensities. But I've never prepared like a playlist. I just play what I feel at that moment. You know, it just, it's very organic.
Yeah.
A lot of DJs kind of, they how to call it, they prepare their set and they play a prepared track list that they have already. You know, there's a lot of them that play. I'm not criticizing it. It's just the way
Yeah.
they do it, and they'll play the same track list in 5 or 6 different gigs. You know, in different. But I every gig I do is different. It's kind of like it's like painting some, you know, it's because every gig is different, and
Yeah.
every crowd is different, and every club is different, and every sound system is different. So it's,
What was interesting, like you said, when I saw you guys play at Crossed and y'all played a
mm.
live set, and that was
But that's
complete.
different. Actually, no, because the live set we did it, the way we do it is it's a very flexible live set.
Yeah, that was really fun. You went from the live set to doing the afters, and you followed um, Dax J, I think, who was like really hard,
Mm.
high BPM. So I got to see kind of both ends of that, where you got to, you know, do something that was live versus like here you are following that really high
Mm.
BPM and bringing it, and then still, like you said, it wasn't, you can't go and play. I mean, you could technically if you wanted to play a fixed playlist after that, but you didn't. Y'all went with it and played to that specific genre and then made it into your own. So,
Exactly.
and that's very special. I don't think that is very unique to this in this day and age where people are playing those kind of fixed playlists.
That's what I mean. That's not DJing. That's just playing a playlist.
Yeah.
You know, it's easy to do that.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, it's saying, okay, yeah, I play this and that's it, and you know, it is entertainment. It is entertainment, but it isn't, in a way. And it's not like, I come from a culture where I've played a whole night in a club, so I was doing the warm up, the middle, and the end of the night. You know, so you really learn a lot when you're a resident DJ in that sense, because you're doing the whole night. You know, it was a different culture before. Now it's like to get as many DJs as you can in one night, so more people come, because this DJ is going to sell me these many comps, and this one's going to, because the DJs half the time are public relations, especially in a local,
Oh,
in a
yeah.
local. You know, that's the way it works locally these days.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's
Wow.
not. And when in my time, the club, you had one DJ, maybe two in one night. So you were doing the whole night, and I would love to play at the beginning when there was nobody, and I'd play like some chill out and down tempo, and then maybe reggae or whatever, and then I'd build it up to house, and you know, so on. And
Yeah.
it's kind of, look, it's kind of like, no, I mean, I always use the sex analogy, but it's kind of like sex, you know. You don't just, I mean, you can sometimes, but generally, look, she's
It's a
blushing.
warm up. There's a warm up.
Well, yeah, of course. You don't just get, you know, you don't just come, then you know, you just stick it right in, like, you know. I
Right.
mean, you can do. I mean, maybe you
You
can do that
can. I mean, there's,
when
yeah,
you
if
really
that's
know
how you get
someone.
down, that's fine. But
Yeah,
I
you're
hear
gonna
what
have
you're
a
saying.
quickie, but generally, you know,
Right.
it's like you
There's a,
warm up, you kiss, you do this, you do that, and you gotta warm up the people. You know, it's like,
yeah.
and then you know, you start, you know,
Oh, we know.
building things up, and then you get to the climax, and then, you know,
Right.
it's like that. It's the same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. So you have that. I know you have. You're so funny.
But I love it because it's like when you arrive in the club and they're playing like sort of deep house. Everybody's like, "Hey, hi, how you doing?" You get to the club and you're like, "Hey, I'm gonna have my first drink." Okay, and you sort of like whittling like this, but you're just having your first drink, and then you start playing tech house, and they've had about 3 drinks, and they're like, "Hey, yeah, man, I was, yeah, like, kind of like getting in the groove, like, yeah, woo, yeah." And then it's about 4 a.m, and the pills are coming up, and they're like, "Fuck yeah, motherfuckers!" They're playing sort of like really uplifting techno, and then it's 5 a.m, and you're basically you're just like moving like that, and you basically don't know who the fuck you are, but it's really hard techno, and it's kind of, what I mean? It's different phases of music.
Yeah.
Rather than if you just start playing really hard techno when, it's like you arrive there and there's nobody in the club and the DJ's just banging techno. And you haven't even had a drink yet. And it's like someone's fisting you or something, you know? It's
a lot. It's a lot.
Is this guy fisting me right now?
I can't.
I mean, it's like I just met him and he's already fisting me. It's like, what the fuck?
I wouldn't know, but I know the analogy. I know what you're saying.
I know.
No, but I hear you. I agree with you though. I do think that it's like, the way it's been commercialized now is completely different. When you go to these festivals and you go to these places and it's like DJ, and like trying to get in that groove where you guys are just, sometimes you feel like with you guys in the warm up, it's like, damn, you want to hear them go for 2 more hours. Cause it's like, you guys are just now getting to it. So yeah, but I do want to ask you, someone had asked, I told you I'd asked some friends about questions and they wanted to know about Amsterdam dance event and like what that was like for you and kind of like as an artist and going through all those different, is it any different than all the other ones? That was something that they specifically asked or like want to know about.
No, I mean, AD is kind of like a Miami Music Conference, just that it's much more underground and it's not so easy. I mean, like Miami Conference, when I started going there 25 years ago, no, I was 25, so I'm 44 now. So about 18 years ago, it was a different vibe. There was, it was much smaller, and you basically had like Marco Carola, Loco Dice, Lee Burridge, all the old school sort of Richie Houghton. I mean, I saw Marco Carola play in a club in front of 300 people in Miami Music Conference. Loco Dice wasn't even playing. Richie played at a friend's. I mean, I was really lucky to watch Richie play at my friend's house, and after I was in front of 30 people.
Wow.
Tenaglia was playing in space. It was a different thing, and it was very, and 80 is kind of like, lots of little parties everywhere. But the EDM element isn't there, that cheesy EDM commercial element isn't there,
Right.
For me, it's kind of changed that, it's not my scene. I don't want to criticize it. It's just,
it's different.
For me, it's not. It's a different thing, So
yeah.
So for some people, it's better. For me, it was better. It's the ADE thing is much more underground. I feel like it's more, and the music is better. It's It's real. And for me, EDM isn't really. I don't consider it electronic music. I mean, it is, but it's not. It's.
Like the big room.
It's like the reggaeton of it's the reggaeton of electronic music, basically. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't have anything to. It's just not my kind of thing. I just don't get it. But it's all good.
Different. Yeah. It's
different taste for different people,
Exactly, and I think that's where.
But 80 is lovely. It's great. It was I mean, we were very lucky to play twice at the Gashouder, which is one of the fucking best venues I've played in my life.
What's it called?
The Gashouder. It's where they do the drum code events, and
okay.
it's this massive round building, and they have fireworks in there, and
Wow.
It's fantastic. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
Oh, okay. I know what you're. Yeah.
that
Wow.
was an experience. And then Amsterdam is a beautiful city. Food is great. The Dutch are really nice. I mean, it's great. 80 is great. I love it
Yeah.
for sure. You know, it's a great experience, and you know, people from all over the world, and yeah, it's kind of like a Miami conference without the cheese.
Without the extra cheese.
No, it's like if let's say Miami conference is, I'm not gonna say McDonald's. I'm not gonna, because it's a bit better than that. Like maybe an In-N-Out burger and 80 is a ribeye, an Angus
Oh.
ribeye.
Okay. Got it. Well, I want to check. Yeah, I've never been to ADE, but everyone always. I mean, that seems to be like the
Have you
next.
been to Amsterdam?
No, I haven't been to
Have you
Amsterdam.
been to Europe?
I haven't been to Europe.
So I guess you're gonna have to come,
I'm gonna have to. I know we want to.
huh?
Where is so you are? I know y'all had signed up to do, or y'all are on that, like planning 2021, the Drum Code Festival in Malta.
Yeah, we're playing in Malta. Yeah,
That looks really cool. That's a really sick lineup.
yeah, it looks cool. It's just, I mean, the thing is, to be honest, I've been doing this for 20 years, so I just, I don't know. I mean, I don't have the same excitement as I did when I was 25 or 30 years old, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I'm there, of course, and I really enjoy it, but
Yeah.
I don't have that expectation anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I guess it comes with age, you know?
Well, you've been there, done that. Like you
Like
said, it's like,
I get more excited about getting a new vacuum cleaner, for example, these days. Or like getting a new saucepan, you know, to barbecue my meat. Like I got, or getting a juicer, or getting, you know, that's exciting. You
yeah,
know,
your
like
face has literally lit up
getting a
when
new
you're
set of
talking.
knives, you know, cooking knives. Or I mean, I don't know. It's just, uh, yeah, it's the thing is, when you've done so many gigs and so many festivals, it's just it's a great job. It's work.
Hmm.
You see it as, thing is, it becomes your job. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm tired of it, and I'm not saying I'm not passionate and I don't love it, but it's like it's fine. It's yeah. You know, maybe I'll get there and it's amazing. Maybe it'll be, you know, not every thing is, not even every gig or every festival or every experience is great either.
Right.
You know, I'm
Well, I
being
feel
really
like,
honest here.
yeah, no, I appreciate it. And I do feel like the way that they're, well, right now, because everything's shut down, it's
But
like,
the Drum Code Festival looks really exciting, for
yeah.
sure.
Well, and I feel like you kind of get to make these kind of like dream. I mean, so someone like me who's not, hasn't been going to all the
Yeah,
festivals around the world and traveled all those things. I
of
mean,
course.
we're looking at it from the aspect of like, wow, there's all my favorite artists now. I mean, everything's really hyper curated now because you can be. You have nothing, no schedules to conflict with, no touring schedules. It's like, okay, this is what, the drum code lineup with everybody that's on there is like a dream drum code lineup. So it's like, for the consumer, someone like me would be like, wow, that's an insane lineup that you get to be a part of. So maybe from that perspective, like see,
No, no, from that perspective, it's great. From my perspective, it's like, I don't even know if it's going to happen yet.
right.
One, because already canceled. This is how I see it.
Yeah.
They've
Well, yeah,
already
you have a different perspective on it.
they've already canceled. I don't know how many festivals. So you know, I'm still a bit, how do you call
Skeptical.
that? Skeptical, exactly. And two, like I can't even imagine it right now because I'm so used to being at home
Yeah.
and I haven't played in such a long time that it's kind of like it feels like a past life. Maybe
Really?
it's like right now I can't give you that. Yeah, I it feels so far away in a weird way because it's
Yeah.
just even like I don't even know when I have, you know, when my next gig is. So it just feels like a past life in a weird way, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't really feel excited or not excited or nothing. I'm kind of living in the, you know, I know it sounds cheesy, but I'm kind of like this pandemic, this situation has taught me to live really in the day to day, you know, and
Mhm.
that's kind of where I am. I'm more excited about, you know, talking to you right now than Drum Code Festival, for example. That's more exciting to me right now. You know, it's
Aw, well, I appreciate that.
no, it's just, I
Well,
guess it's the
it's the
simple
present.
thing. You know, when you, for me, it's been very interesting to see that the simple things in a situation like this has made the simple things more valuable. You know.
Totally. I agree with you 100%. I feel like that's what it's done. And it did, like being, and kind of what you talked about earlier with it, you know, and I know it was so funny to me. Like you messaged me one time and you're like, how do you do it? Like, how do you go to all these things? I'm like, hello, how do you do it? Like you're going and you're traveling everywhere. But I think, like you said, when everything kind of just, when everything stopped, that was the first time I had kind of stopped too in a while. And it's
Mm.
like all these things kind of came to the surface for me that I was like, wow, okay, like this friend was just literally a party friend. This wasn't like a real friend. And it really did give me a lot of perspective on myself, on what I really wanted to do, and help me focus on the things that I needed to focus on. And kind of like what we were saying, I couldn't really distract myself anymore. There's no distractions. You had to actually like face those things that I needed to face and hang out with the right people and kind of find my tribe, find my support system that I was fortunate to find. You know, like I said, the people that I messaged about you were literally, it's like that's my support system that I've connected with. And, you know, we look out for each other and we look out for the community here, but there was a lot of people that fell off that I don't talk to anymore, or you know, they're still there. It's not that I don't like them, or, you know, if I see them out, but it's just, there's not the same friendship. It's a different definition of what a friendship is and what,
Mm.
you know, my family means
Well,
a
it
lot
puts
to me.
things in. See, for me, it's put things into perspective, and it puts
Big time.
priorities into perspective. And you know, it's like spending time with people is more, or choosing who you spend time with. You know, not waste, because time. I know it's like time is our most valuable asset. You know, more
Totally.
you
I
can never
agree.
get time back. You know,
Yeah.
so I don't know. For me, this whole situation has put perspective on what's more important and what's not. And for me, you know, going back to what you said before, it's taking care of my health and my mental, you know, my physical and my mental health is more important than going to festivals all day. You know what I mean?
Going to festivals are fun, but
It is. It's fun,
yes.
but
But if
there's more to
you're
life than,
self,
or
oh
being
yeah.
you know, or being a like being a, you know, the whole DJ persona and all that. I mean, it's cool, but like there are DJs that you know, for me, life is there's the DJ life, and there's also normal life, you know, and
Yeah.
normal life has taken more of a perspective, you know, it's become more important in the last, and I guess you take more, so less things for granted now, you know.
Yeah. Well,
Like
it's
you know, I'm living off, you know, I barely go to I used to eat in restaurants every day,
wow.
and I go to a restaurant once a month now,
Wow.
and I eat at home, and I cook my food, and you know, it's just, but it makes you appreciate things more, you know.
Yeah.
And in some ways, it makes you, you know, just, I don't know. For me, it's just seeing life in a different way, and for me, it's a very, I try to take things, you know, from day to day kind of thing. I tackle it in a day to day rather than uh, what I'm gonna be doing in, you know, rather, I haven't even thought about the Drum Code Festival. Like, yeah, I saw it, but you know, it's like my brain's not there. My brain is in what I'm like gonna do tomorrow and
Yeah.
next day and the next day, you know, and
Yeah.
I try
And you've been
to
spending a lot of
keep
time
focus on
in,
that because it's
yeah.
right now we're in a very unstable, you know, I don't know, you know, it's kind of it's an unstable situation. I mean we never know what's going to happen anyways, you know, but
Right.
these days it's more than everything's crazier than ever, you know.
Yeah.
So the best thing we can do, or I can do, is keep it in the day and keep it in the moment and just enjoy what's around me and try to focus on that, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's what you've been spending a lot of time in nature, and I saw
I live.
just
I'm very lucky.
different things.
I live in on a horse ranch.
Ah, that's where the horse is. Okay. So
Yeah,
yeah,
of course.
looking all the different horses that you have, and that's nice.
Well,
So you get to
my
connect.
mom has been breeding horses for many years, so
Wow.
she's a horse breeder.
Wow.
Well, I tried to sort of that didn't go right.
No.
But she's like, I'm not good with that accent, but she's a horse breeder, yeah.
Nice. And
So
then
I'm
and
very
then Dan
fortunate.
lives like down the street from you, right? Like y'all
Well,
are pretty.
he lives in Genoa, which is I live about 15 minutes away from Palma, which is the main town, well, main city on the island.
Mm-hmm.
And and Dan lives about five. He lives like around in the suburbs. But he works from home and I work from home. We barely see each other. We basically work. We each have our own studio and we send each other files and stuff. And
Yeah.
yeah, so
Well, that's
been
good.
it's yeah
But you
it's
guys are
whatever.
still, I mean, so are you still producing right now? Or are you guys just taking some time off for music? I mean, I know you
No,
sent me that.
well, we're also doing another. We've been doing a pop project
Hmm.
um, with a 20-year-old girl singer. She's absolutely brilliant, and she writes the lyrics, and we produce and write the music.
Wow.
Um, and so we've been focusing a little bit of that. I've been Dan's been taking a bit more of a break. He's been dealing with his own stuff. So I've been writing some music for this pop project, and I've also been doing a couple of collabs with different artists. I did a remix for a friend of mine in Vancouver, um, and we've been working with Gregor Thresher. I don't know if you've heard of him,
Hmm. I
Gregor
have.
Thresher. Also, would think of doing another collab with Victor Ruiz.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, no, of course I've been working. I've also been setting up my new studio because I just moved. I moved into this house at the end of the pandemic where I am now, and I've finally have a room big enough to put all my vinyls. So I've basically I have a whole wall with I've been able to put these IKEA stands. I don't know, the square ones,
Hmm.
and I've been able to put all my vinyls on a wall, and it took me about 3 weeks to categorize them all in genres and stuff. So
Wow.
that was kind of like going through memory lane, listening to all my old vinyls.
Were you listening to him as you were
Of
like,
course. Well,
oh,
I
yeah.
don't remember 2000. I don't know how many there are. There are around 2,000, 3,000 vinyls. So I had
Yeah,
to
that's why
listen
it took
one
you
by
three
one.
weeks then.
And then I threw like 400 away. I mean, I threw a lot of shit away too. I didn't keep them all.
Wow.
I was quite embarrassing. I mean, I even found a Tiesto record in there. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go now.
Oh my gosh. That would
Yeah.
be great. Well, I mean, I'm trying to think. There's so many things. You're just such an interesting person to always talk to. I always enjoy our conversations. I know
Thank
it's
you.
pretty late over there, but I just want to tell you thank you so much. I hope that you continue to stay safe and stay well over there. And I
Yeah,
hope
for sure.
you
Here we are back on lockdown.
yeah.
So don't get too cocky with this because yeah,
No, I'm not. I
you
mean, we're
might
kind
be
of
back
prepared
in
for it.
lockdown soon too. I guess you guys are behind us.
Yeah.
They're calling it. I don't know if you've had the second wave yet.
We have the second wave is bad. It's pretty
So
bad
it's
here
already
right
hit
now.
the
Mhm.
second wave. So
Yeah.
maybe you're getting out of the second wave. I don't know.
I hope so. We
Or
just have
maybe it's
to
all bullshit. I have no idea. I just have no idea. The problem is, I mean, I've got to, I see my mother a lot, and I can't take that risk, to be
yeah.
honest.
Well, yeah. And if anything, it just gives you more time to do the things
The
that
sad thing is we don't know, you know, you don't really know. Nobody knows anything.
Yeah.
You know, what's the truth, what's not.
I know. Well, we'll have to do this. I mean, we're definitely
But you
not.
had COVID. You had COVID. So,
I had it back in March.
So it's real.
And I didn't get the actual, I mean, I had all the symptoms. I tested positive for the antibody test in like April. So yeah, I've just had it. I'm going to see my family on Thursday for Christmas. So I went and had like 3 tests to just make double sure I'm good. So I tested negative, thank God. So I get to see my family. But I've only seen my family only lives like an hour away. So I used to see my family like at least once or twice a month. And now it's like I've seen them maybe twice the entire year. So it's been really hard because I'm really close to my family. So it's been a bummer. But
well, that'll be nice.
Yeah, I'm really excited. So we're just kind of, Steve and I are staying here like in lockdown. He's going home to see his family.
What food are you gonna? What are you guys gonna eat?
Tamales. We ate a lot of tamales.
Tamales.
Tamales. Yes.
Tamales.
Lots of tamales.
Tamales y fajitas y tortillas, burritos.
Yes.
Yeah. Comida mexicana.
Ugh, I know.
But you understand, right?
I can understand what you're saying.
You don't speak Spanish, though.
No, you were speaking Spanish to me when we were in San Diego.
Pero no hablas, pero me entiendes, ¿no?
I do understand. A little bit. I can't understand when people
Un poquito.
kind of like what him, a little bit, just a little bit.
Un poquito, eh?
Un poquito.
So I speak more Spanish and Portuguese than you two guys, huh?
You do. You definitely do. Well, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to finally talk to you. We're not going to be strangers. I know we'll keep talking, but yeah, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome. Bye.
All right.